Let's say you die, but you wake up in a fantasy world. What do you do? If your answer is fight sexual norms, then I've got a treat for you. I'm in Love with the Villainous is an anime from late 2023 based on a series of light novels written by Inori, with illustrations by Hanagata. There is also a manga adaptation, and all three versions, the light novels, the manga, and the anime, are available legally in English. It is an Isekai series, and for those not familiar, that means it's about a person from our world that gets teleported to another world, often by dying, and often gaining or carrying over special powers or knowledge. The Isekai genre is all about wish fulfillment, and while this is usually done by having the main character being overpowered, easily able to accomplish what no one else can do, with tons of charisma and charm, obviously the chosen one to save the fantasy world or overcome evil, there has been a shift in those trends more recently. While being OP is still a staple among the many isekai series that continue to come out, and main characters always have skills that put them above others in their new environments, we're starting to see more and more anime that focus on other aspects. Namely, the person that has been reincarnated from our world into the strange fantasy world striving for their own personal happiness, or the happiness of others, in a more small-scale way. Instead of fighting a great evil, they make books, or cook, or farm. They enjoy their new lives, using OP skills, but without being the chosen one. I'm in Love with the Villainous is one of these series. Ohashi Rae was an employee at a small business, working ludicrous hours and clearly very stressed out, until she suddenly found herself as Rae Taylor, the protagonist of her favorite dating sim. And with her encyclopedic knowledge of the game world and its lore and characters, and even what events will transpire and when, Rae focuses on being close to Claire Francois, a character who in the game attempted to thwart the player's attempts at getting together with one of the three princes of the fantasy kingdom. In the game, Claire is the villainess the player must overcome, but in her reincarnated life, Rae only sees Claire as her true love, who she wants to spend every waking moment with. I'm going to get into spoiler territory now, so if this series piques your interest, go check it out. You can always come back here later. From the beginning, Claire is a bully. She mistreats Rae and clearly doesn't respect her at all. But Rae doesn't mind. And not only because she seems to have a thing for being picked on by Claire. See, having played the visual novel, Revolution, to death and reading all supplemental material available, Rae knows everything about Claire's personality and why she behaves the way she does. Claire, to put it simply, is a tsundere who acts abrasive but is actually sensitive and sweet on the inside. Rae even stands up for Claire, pointing out that she doesn't take the bullying too far and is doing it to hide her own fragile ego. We learn later that Claire had a rough childhood. Her parents, being nobles, were always busy, and one year on her birthday, they had to leave for work. Claire had an argument with her mother about it and said that she hated her. Of course, on the way home that night, her parents got into an accident and her mother died. Racked with guilt and loneliness, Claire grew into someone that pushed others away and had trouble trusting them. Rae, knowing this backstory, sees through Claire's facade. She's also spent time with the Claire of the game while playing it and fell in love with the character. That's not too unusual for anime fans, I'd say. Not that it should be taken to an extreme, but I'm sure most people would swoon if their favorite character ended up existing for real. While she does sometimes act in inappropriate ways, Rae is a caring individual that tries to prevent bad things from happening, especially to Claire, but for every character, really. She knows where the game goes, and at the very end of the last episode, we see that the title Revolution is accurate, as Claire is led up steps to a gallows. Apparently, like during the French Revolution, the common people rise up and execute the nobility, including Claire. No wonder Rae worked so hard to get things to work out. I'm in Love with the Villainous is a funny, well-paced anime with likable characters and an intriguing plot that drops hints as to its nature throughout the run without giving everything away. For example, at the start of the second episode, after winning a bet against Claire, Rae gets to make Claire do any one thing Rae asks of her. And her command? Don't give up. No matter how difficult or painful things may get, never give up until the very end. So it's easy to make guesses as to what she's talking about, some tragedy or heartbreak Claire will face in the future, but we don't know for sure. It's intriguing and makes you want to know. You keep it in the back of your head as you watch, waiting for another clue. And speaking of heartbreak, let's talk about Claire's love interest, Thane. He's one of the princes of the kingdom and one of the possible love routes in the game Rae played. This is partly why Claire is the villainess of the game, because she's interested in one of the men the player can date. But Rae has no interest in being with a man, so she ignores all the dating flags and actually tries to help Claire with her crush on Thane, which seems to run counter to her love for Claire, which she professes constantly and to everyone, and that gets brought up in episode 3. While having tea and talking with Claire, Claire's maid Lene, and Rae's in-game childhood friend Misha, Rae is asked why she did something that got Claire and Thane together, and her explanation is that she didn't expect Claire to return her feelings from the start. She knows that Claire likes Thane and wants them to get together because it'll make Claire happy. Also, her end goal seems to be saving Claire from the upcoming revolution versus being in a relationship with her. That changes by the end of the anime though. In episode 10, Claire's childhood friend Minaria shows up. She's princely and charismatic and acts as if she could woo Claire if she really wanted to. She makes Rae jealous and even pushes her to be more forthcoming about her feelings. In the end, she is less of a rival and more of a supporter. Her actions cause Rae to be completely honest about her feelings for Claire and her desire to be in a relationship with her, which Rae herself had denied. And it works because after seeing how serious Rae is, along with some jealousy at the thought of Minaria taking Rae from her, Claire admits her feelings for Rae, and they are of a romantic nature. She can't be completely honest about it, she is still a major tsundere, but it's clear at the end that Claire and Rae are together. And one of the best parts is that everyone is cool with it, at least of the characters we follow. They fully support Claire and Rae's relationship with no discrimination about them both being girls or that Claire is a noble while Rae is a commoner. Which brings me back to episode 3 and the tea chat. This scene is where the series gets a bit more real. It starts with Misha asking Rae if she is what they call gay. Very straightforward, which Lene, the well-meaning maid, thinks is too open. But Rae doesn't mind answering. She says she probably is gay. She's never been in love with a man, and she is clearly in love with Claire. And when Lene tries to say that gender doesn't matter, that the person Rae fell for just happened to be another woman, Rae corrects her, explaining that gender does matter because she will never fall for a man. I've heard that line of thinking from people before, often straight people, or only straight people, that gender doesn't matter when it comes to love. It's an attempt to be tolerant, to show acceptance of a concept they previously rejected perhaps, or that their current religion or culture doesn't approve of. And while it's a step in the right direction, it cannot stop there. Gender does matter. If it didn't, there wouldn't be heterosexuality or homosexuality. Of course, some people are pansexual and gender may not matter to them, but we can't assume that everyone is or should be part of a single group. Gay people exist just as straight people exist, and in both cases, gender matters. It's essential that we understand that being gay isn't heroic or outrageous. It's no different than being straight, not internally. It's just how some people are wired. By saying that Rae happens to love someone that is another woman, Lene not only diminishes her identity, trying to scrub away the taboo notion of being gay, she also ends up putting Rae on a pedestal. Look at the woman that dares to love another woman. How courageous she is. But this is a terrible sentiment. Being gay doesn't make someone special. Rae simply loves who she loves, is attracted to those she's attracted to, and she's no different than anybody else. So no, Lene, Rae isn't having to walk uphill with a cross on her back because the person she fell in love with happened to be a woman. She'll only have to live that way if society opposes her identity. Being gay is only hard when society others you, says that you are worth less and matter less, that you are in fact different in a bad way. Other people and their thoughts and actions may force Rae to struggle more, but they of course shouldn't. That's called bigotry. And like I said before, at the end of the series, the main cast accepts Rae and Claire's relationship. They don't act as if theirs is an odd relationship, or even one that will cause strife or be problematic. And while we don't see how other characters take these crazy lesbians, the adult teachers at the academy, or even Claire's father could be very upset, it's at least great to see that their friends and classmates see Rae and Claire as any other couple. It's obvious that in this game world, being a lesbian is seen as strange or bad, but it's also not an unknown thing. The characters are aware of what it is to be gay, after all. And Minaria, Claire's childhood friend, seems to also be openly gay. She's at least known for visiting brothels and admits as much to Rae. As a whole, I'm in Love with the Villainous doesn't shy away from the idea that lesbian love is forbidden, but it doesn't feed into it either. It doesn't romanticize the very idea of being a lesbian. It's just a love story that focuses more on the characters and the events going on around them, letting the leads slowly get closer to one another, and when it's done, we get a happy ending with an inevitable sequel that will delve into other issues, and hopefully more open love between Rae and Claire. Now, for those curious, the light novels on which the anime is based are all available in English from Seven Seas Entertainment. There are 5 of them, and the anime covers the entirety of the first volume and about half of the second. I haven't read them yet, but I definitely plan to, because I cannot wait a year, at least, for another season of the anime. Though I will watch it when it comes out, even if I've read the books by then, because the anime looks so good and is so fun to watch. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more videos about queer anime and manga, I have a playlist full of videos about that topic, and you can always subscribe to keep up with what I put out. I also occasionally do videos about Japanese horror, with a lot focusing on the Higurashi or When They Cry series, so feel free to check those out too. I have a Patreon if you feel like supporting me in making these videos, link in the description, as well as channel memberships here on YouTube, which I still don't fully understand, but I am trying to learn more about them. And of course, comments are always welcome, as long as they're not homophobic or transphobic. There's no hate allowed here. I'm Shaggy, wishing you all a very gay time.